Okay, let's try to unpack this. We've been talking about AI programming assistants for years now.
Hmm.
But I want you to truly imagine a scenario that would have sounded like, I don't know, pure science fiction even 12 months ago. Imagine you sit down at your keyboard. Or, you know what, maybe you don't even sit down. You just speak a full, complex instruction to an AI. You say, create a full-stack sleep tracking app. It needs authenticated user profiles, integrate the backend with Firebase, and deploy the entire thing to Vercel.
Yeah.
And then, 2 hours later, you have a functional, stable prototype
Hmm.
right there, without writing a single line of code.
That's a force multiplier. It sounds less like development and more like, well, like manifesting something into existence.
Exactly. And this is the promise of Google Antigravity. This is the massive agentic AI platform that dropped on November 18, 2025, alongside the new flagship model, Gemini 3 Pro. The hype has been astronomical. But, and this is why we're doing this deep dive, the velocity of its launch has also brought some really serious, frankly, terrifying security concerns to the forefront.
Yeah, and we've been tracking a fascinating stack of sources for this. We're looking at the Google developers blog, of course, but we're also pulling in security papers from groups like MindGuard. And then you have those incredible, almost unbelievable viral posts on X that show what people are actually building with it.
So here's our mission for you today. We are giving you the shortcut. We want you to walk away understanding this tool, how its agentic core works, what the hard data says about its reliability, and ultimately, is this the future of coding? Or is it, as one source put it, a rocket with a faulty parachute?
I like that. And we should probably start with the name itself, anti-gravity. Google says it's intentional. The idea is to free the developer from the gravity of all those mundane details, the boilerplate, the config file, so you can just float at a strategic level.
Delegate the grunt work, basically.
Exactly. You delegate and the agents execute.
That concept is so important. I mean, think about how much time is just spent wrestling with dependencies. If anti-gravity fixes that, the name makes total sense.
It does. And what's really fascinating here is that this is fundamentally different from older AI tools. It's not just an IDE with better autocomplete. It's an agentic platform. That means it turns AI models into, well, independent teammates. They can plan, code, execute, and verify tasks all on their own.
So it's like a virtual dev team.
A virtual dev team running in parallel. And the muscle behind it all, the sources confirm, is Gemini 3 Pro.
Right, the new engine.
And this model is a huge step up. We're not just talking about generating more code, we're talking about smarter, more logically sound code. Gemini 3 Pro scored a 54.2% on Terminal Bench 2.0. Now, for anyone who doesn't follow these benchmarks, that's a really big deal.
What does that actually mean, though?
It means it has incredible logical reasoning. It can navigate new problems and detect errors in a way that just puts it way ahead of its rivals.
So it's not just fast, it's smart about how it solves problems.
Precisely. And they built it on a familiar foundation. It's a fork of Visual Studio Code, so the whole environment feels approachable. The learning curve is pretty minimal.
Okay, let's talk about the user experience. Because when you download it, and yes, there is a free public preview on antigravity.google download, you see this dual view right away.
You've got your normal editor view for when you want to get your hands dirty with the code. But the real game changer is the agent manager view. That's your command center. It's where you orchestrate the bots.
It sounds more like running a small startup than coding by yourself. And Google is really pushing for adoption, right? With the free quotas.
Oh, yeah, they're being very generous. The Gemini 3 Pro quotas reset every 5 hours, so for an indie dev, it's pretty much forever free. It's a massive on-ramp.
So once you're in the agent manager, what happens? How do the agents actually do the work?
Well, they use Gemini's reasoning to break down the big task into small executable steps. They edit files, they run commands in the terminal, even client-side bash commands, and they can even navigate a simulated browser to check the UI.
Wait, hang on. If the agent is running its own tests, how do you trust the results? Isn't that like grading your own homework?
That is the exact question, and it brings us to this critical feature they call artifacts.
Artifacts, okay.
Artifacts are the verifiable proofs of work. They're the AI's answer to transparency, so it's not just code. It's a detailed implementation plan or high-res screenshots of the finished UI or even a video of the user journey.
So you, the human, don't have to check every single line of code. You just check the proof that the outcome is correct.
Exactly. It completely changes the time calculation. You spend 5 minutes reviewing an artifact instead of 5 hours hunting for a bug.
We saw this in the official code lab. The prompt was, refactor this React repo for scalability. And the agent just did it all.
The whole thing. It planned, edited, tested, verified it in a browser, and then delivered an artifact with metrics showing the code was less complex. It's a closed loop.
The developer becomes more of a director than a mechanic.
A director,
Yeah,
exactly. And that brings us to this idea that's all over social media right now, vibe coding.
I love this phrase.
Me too. Vibe coding means you're no longer limited by syntax. You just describe the vibe, the high-level goal, and the AI materializes it for you.
You don't ask how to connect the database, you just say connect the database.
And it figures it out. What's also great is that it's not a walled garden. It supports other models, like Claude Sonnet 4.5 or GPT-OSS, so you can use the best tool for the job.
That multi-model support is huge. Okay, let's get to the speed. This is what's driving all the hype. The anecdotes are just wild.
Speed is the headline. We have to talk about that viral post from the Japanese developer on X.
Yes, the one who built a full-stack web app, front-end, back-end, database, the works, and deployed it to Vercel in just a few hours. He said he wrote basically zero manual code. His reaction was, yabai demasiado loco.
Which is pretty much, holy cow, this is insane. It just collapses the time from idea to MVP.
And there's another one, a user who built an MVP entirely with voice commands in 2 hours, just by speaking.
It feels like the democratization of elite programming skills. You just need to be a great manager of requirements. And the initial reaction on X was something like 70% positive right after launch.
But the hype is one thing. What about hard data?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. In academic comparisons, Antigravity shows a 94% success rate in refactoring messy code bases. Its main rival, Cursor, was at 78%.
Wow, that's not a small difference.
It's a massive difference in a production setting. And because of Gemini 3 Pro's edge detection capabilities, it produces code with 50% fewer bugs than older tools. It's faster, cleaner, and more autonomous.
It honestly sounds like the perfect development tool.
Mm-hmm.
But you warned us at the beginning, as fast as the hype built, the shadows arrived. So it was time for the reality check. Where does this rocket with a faulty parachute start to fail?
The dark side arrived almost immediately. Within 24 hours of launch, security researchers started reporting these persistent foundational vulnerabilities.
What was the biggest alarm bell?
The one from the security firm MindGuard. They reported a specific, persistent backdoor vulnerability in the mcpconfig.json file. The problem is, it allows for arbitrary code execution, meaning an attacker can run commands on your machine.
Okay, that's already bad.
It gets worse. They can do it even after you uninstall Antigravity.
Wait, what? After you uninstall it? How is that even possible? That's a truly persistent threat. It's not just some temporary bug.
It's a fundamental persistence problem. And Google had to document it in their known issues. They explicitly warn about data exfiltration and critically prompt injection.
And prompt injection is a huge risk when these agents are just grabbing data and code from all over the place, right?
A huge risk. It connects directly to the OWASP LLM top 10. They call this kind of thing unbounded consumption. The agent's power to run terminal commands is what makes it revolutionary, but it's also what opens the floodgates. Gemini 3 is good. It's at what they call uplift level 1, but it's clearly not infallible.
And these security risks tie into what researchers are calling the over-reliance paradox.
They do. The METR study found this fascinating result. Developers feel like they're going faster. They perceived a 24% speed increase. But when measured on complex tasks, they actually took 19% longer to get the job done right.
So the tool makes me feel faster, but it's actually slowing me down when it matters most. How?
It's the over-reliance. The agent gets stuck in a logic loop or it corrupts a file in fast mode, and then the developer spends all their time just reverting the changes in Git, trying to undo the agent's well-intentioned mistakes.
It handles the easy 80% perfectly, but the complex 20%, that's where the human is still essential, and the mistakes the AI makes there are costly.
Exactly. And that explains the corporate adoption numbers. The McKinsey 2025 survey showed that only 23% of firms are scaling agentic AI. The security and ethical risks are just too high for them right now.
Google says it's augmenting humans.
It is, but a paper from Constellation Research warned that agentic AI also amplifies attack surfaces. If it can write 1,000 lines of code in a minute, it can introduce 1,000 lines of vulnerable code just as fast.
Right. You accelerate your vulnerabilities along with your productivity.
Mm-hmm.
And we should also mention the knowledge cutoff, right? January 2025.
That's a practical point. If a new security flaw is discovered this week, the agent won't know about it. The human is still the last line of defense.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Anti-gravity is, without a doubt, a quantum leap. It really does democratize elite development. We've seen the hype is real. 94% success in refactoring, vibe coding entire apps in hours.
But we've also verified the shadows, the persistent security risks, the over-reliance paradox, and that low corporate adoption rate. The tool is incredible for handling the mundane stuff, the how, so you can focus on the what.
So the key takeaway is that this is an incredibly powerful tool, maybe the most powerful in a decade, but its power demands vigilance. Humans have to own the strategy, the security, and the final review.
You have to approach it as a very capable partner, but never, ever as an infallible replacement for your own judgment.
Which raises the most important question for your career. If this tech accelerates everything, what does that actually mean for you?
Right. What's your trajectory in a post-anti-gravity world?
Exactly. Do developers become these highly specialized orchestrators of agents, focusing only on architecture and security? Or does the relentless pace mean that if you don't upskill to that strategic level, you risk being left behind? Which future are you preparing for? The orchestrator or the one trying to keep up? That's really what you should be thinking about right now.